Good morning everyone, welcome back to Piccadilly. And you can see things in a little bit of a awry at the moment. The bridge has just been temporarily repositioned, and obviously I've got a pot of glue there. And you might be thinking, what on earth is this white car doing down there? Well, it's a path. There seems to be a path down both sides of the river, and there's actually a little walkway running around here. Now, please bear in mind, this is an interpretation of the real thing. It is not a copy or a scale model by any stretch of the imagination. So this, like I said, represents the path, and I'm going to cover that with papier-mâché and then blend it in with the colour that you see here, and then I should just paint the path a varied grey colour, and the same obviously this side. This one is a little bit different. It seems to be the path is on stilts, if you like, so it's attached with a railing running round. It's quite a nice little walk actually by the looks of things, for the real place that is. But this is clearly just a representation, and by the looks of things there will be a little bit of water down the bottom here, as if somehow these two marry up, but that's off scene for me, so I'm really not going to worry about that. Now, so like I said, I'm going to put both of these paths in and then get them covered in papier-mâché, and I'll show you what that looks like when that's done. Speak soon. Right, so there we are. The bridge has now been stuck down. That is absolutely solid. Now, I had some blocks of wood on it and some 20 kilogram weight on top of that, and that's not going anywhere now. Before I put that down, as you might remember me saying, I've scattered underneath the bridge there, because that would be near impossible to get in there. Even using a teaspoon I think would be really difficult. So I did that before sticking the bridge down. I put the paths in. They're a bit bright, so I do need to weather those down a little bit. But I did those with two greys, a slightly darker grey and an acrylic, very pale grey. You probably can just about make that out. And this has been sealed up now, so I'm ready now to put, I say water. I saw a video by Kathy Millett a couple of weeks ago where she made some water using PVA. So I might give that a go and then varnish over the top if necessary to give it a really high shine. But we'll see, that's not going to be just yet. What I'm going to carry on doing with now, well, actually, you can see I started to put some scenics on top of these, and just inside there I've also put, actually let me get a light, and hopefully you can just about make out inside there. So there's two tracks I've ballasted in there. I will maybe put some dirty grime in there. I'll have another look at it and see what it looks like. But also I'll put some shrubs inside there, so it looks as if the nature has just taken over that area. But what I do need to do is to extend that into this area, obviously. And I need to check the photographs, but I've got a feeling there's some trees coming up here. But again, I'll double check that, and I'm confident there are some trees here somewhere as well. But I do need to just, once again, just double check the photographs. But my next job is to create this moulded down area, and also at the back here. So I'm going to, as you know, this is a lift out section, so I've got to mould up to that line and then fix it to this part. So some of this will need to be reconfigured ever so slightly, but that's fine, it doesn't take very long, and this is just emulsion paint as well, so it really is just a few minutes to get it done, and then maybe an hour or two at the outside to let it dry. So I will get that moulded in. Now, I did have somebody say to me, how do I go about doing this? I'm going to put in some cardboard struts here, and then cover that with tape, and then use paper and neat PVA to mould that in. I will go above here a little bit, not much, but that's why I didn't bring the road right to the end, because I thought I'm going to only end up damaging it, and I can always, you know, it'd be better really just to put it on afterwards if necessary, and then mould that back in afterwards. Anyway, I'll get that done. I'll show you once I've put the struts in, purely for Alex, and so you can see how I go about doing that a little bit. All right, speak soon. As promised, there's the formers ready for the scenery. Like I said, I'm only showing this for the person who asked about how I do the scenery, so hopefully this will answer the question. I'm then going to get some scrumpled up A4 paper and glue that on. I'll show you that in a second. Well, there we go. That's all covered with screwed up paper, A4 paper, just photocopy paper, and that side too. Now I've left the straight and perfect edge down that side, obviously because the cutout section. Okay, so next stage is to let that dry for maybe half an hour, and then there's the scenery finally sculpted. So obviously we've got this hard edge coming down here, because that's where the lift out section comes to. I am going to put some stones in here to represent rocks on either side, and just make it more of a babbling brook. Whether the River Goyt is in one sense, it's not quite so important. This scene isn't quite the same as it is in New Mills, but like I keep saying, it's just a representation of such. Okay, so my next stage now is I will put the rocks in there, and I'll put some flocks on this section here, and you can join me again once I've put some grass down. Okay, thanks. Oh my life, they're all thinking. Well, I've got the foliage on, and this is the PVA. It dries clear. I'm really not that worried. Obviously this area needs to be completely smothered in trees. I might put a bit more foliage down here, but I might let it also dry off first, and so we go on. Now you might also remember I said about filling the river parts and this area down here with PVA. Obviously it naturally fills with PVA as this process takes place, because obviously liquids find the lowest point, don't they? So we'll see what it's like. I mean, I think it would be absolutely fine, and then with some clear varnish over the top, I think it would look quite good. Maybe we'll see how it looks, and then we'll take it from there. But I will join you again when this has dried off quite considerably. Next stage then will be to apply some trees to this area, and obviously around the back, just down there. I've done the same at the back there, and it's all very wet and gluey, just the same as it is at the moment. I've made some trees, if you just mind me swinging you around a little bit. Excuse all the mess, it's just the way things are at the moment. So there's one little batch of trees that I've been making, and there's another batch, all handmade completely from scratch with wire and lichen, and obviously flocks. I am going to experiment a little bit, and I will tell you now, it might work, it might not, but lichen is very expensive for the amount you get. I bought a 100 kilo bag for a £5, which you might think, well, that's not too bad, but the amount of trees I've got to make on this layout is just through the roof, really. So I'm going to experiment with sphagnum moss, the stuff that you use to line hanging baskets. I might have to spray it so it's a darker colour, because it's all very light and wheaty looking at the moment. And yeah, there are some big bits in it which I might have to sift out, but it might work. I can't see it vastly different from the lichen, but we'll see. Right, should join you back. It's the following day now. It's actually Saturday morning. So you can see things have dried off quite a bit more. Obviously the river and the water areas, both here and here, are still quite wet. So obviously I can't do anything else with that. But what I'm going to do next is start putting some trees on. the bit I've been looking forward to be honest. So next time you see, this will be populated with a number of trees. Whether I've got enough to do the whole area is another matter, but we'll see. Time will tell. All right. And as you can see, I've just added some trees, even with the white PVA. Look, you can still see it. But on the riverfront, a lot of it's all dried down now. I will need to put some more PVA in there, but it looks everything looks as if it's going to settle down quite nicely. It just needs quite a bit more, but I'll do that over the next few days. Just keep adding bit by bit. I do need to make quite a few more trees, particularly in this area here. There's some quite tall trees, maybe another couple here, maybe another one over here, a couple over this side. I don't want to overdo it with trees, because I think as I've gone to all the trouble to make the viaduct, you want to see it. But I think it does need a few more. And obviously, as I come round towards the station, there will need to be either trees or some foliage of some description. I'm not sure how to go about doing that at the moment, but we'll take it one step at a time. So I'll get this scene more finished over the next few days, particularly the water, obviously. I still need to start working on this bridge coming across, which is going to be quite a narrow bridge. It's only a single lane with a path as far as I can see. And then I think there must be like passing points down by the station. But it is very, very narrow, so it won't be a particularly big bridge whatsoever, because I do want you to be able to see the crossover. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave this video there for this time, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Have fun. Take care. Bye.